Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you at. I am here with MMAFoo and Red Wolf MMA for UFC 314 main event versus Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. This is guaranteed to be fireworks.
Oh yeah.
Lopez opening or Volkanovski open up as the favorite with that champ experience as a minus at minus 148. Diego Lopez a dog minus or at plus 124. Um, this is an interesting fight. I got things going one way, I got other things going another, right? The fight predictor really likes Diego Lopez and really likes his momentum. Got him as its favorite. My Monte Carlo Sims, not so fast, and it
Mm,
picked Alexander Volkanovski by decision. It feels that this is going to go the 5 rounds, right? Alexander's pretty durable. Um, But I had to tweak the Sims to account for Diego Lopez's waning cardio. And I feel like I don't know if people are picking up on that, um, or if they are picking up on it and say, I don't give a fuck. He's gonna starch former two-time champ Alexander Volkanovski, who's been in it with just about everyone and their mother. But I am just gonna put my rational hat on, and I'm going Alexander Volkanovski by decision.
not a bad shout. Not a bad shout at all. I'll put it this way. I really like Diego Lopez. I really, really do. No denying that. I even said a few months ago, I genuinely think he will be champ. One day I said that a few months ago, he will become champion. I just didn't think it was going to be against Volkanovski. And I like Lopez, but who doesn't love Volk? You know, the guy's a little bit of a legend. He's not a little bit, he's a huge legend. He's such a cool guy, one of the best featherweights we've seen. And, you know, when we talk about featherweight goats, he's up there, he's in the conversation. You know, um, he's he's always live. You know, even when you look at the Taporia fight, he got caught, yeah, but he was doing well until he got caught. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Islam second fight, you know, yeah, he got caught, but again, short notice. You know, the first Islam fight, there was a bit of controversy. So a lot of people were saying Volk won that fight, you know, 3-2. A lot of people saying, 4-1, this, that, and the other. So Volk's, and this time, what I like is he's took the time out. He's took the time to get the rest, to recuperate, to build the body back, to get his health and his mind back in the right track, the right place. You know, met him in Manchester for 304. He was there, and we had a talk about it. And he was saying basically, I've got itchy knuckles. I really want to come back, but I'm taking my time with it. I'm doing it the right way this time, and he has. So is there a danger there with the young, hungry, up and coming Diego Lopez? There is absolutely, and don't get me wrong, Lopez is a phenomenal fighter, and I like him a lot. But Von, you touched on something that I was going to touch on, and that's the cardio of Lopez. Whereas the cardio of Volk is fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He's when was the last time he wasn't in a 5 round fight? I can't remember. It was like
Exactly.
20. You know what I mean? Like 2018, 2017, whatever. Um, so I think, you know, a lot of people would love to see Volk become champion again, and I'm one of them people. So for me, I'm going with Volk's decision or a late knockout when Lopez's gas tanks really were running low and you know the swinging the wild attacks has kind of took its toll and Volk still hasn't gone down. Do you know what I'm saying? So it could happen. But on the flip side, Lopez could knock him out, and I think MMA socials and MMA fans are gonna, you know, cry all around the world because I think if Volk loses this in devastating fashion, I think we know what's next. I
Man,
think
Yeah,
that's
you guys,
heartbreaking.
you guys better have the tissues ready on Saturday.
Damn.
Because my dog of the week is Diego
Oh,
Lopes.
Oh, oh, oh,
oh,
oh,
oh, oh.
oh, 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 oh.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think it's his time is now. I think this fight would have happened maybe last year. I think it would have been a different story. I think Diego Lopez, he's here now. He's here to stay. So I think he's getting first, second round KO. Uh, third round maybe. I don't know. People question his cardio, but now I think he'll prove people wrong. And I think Volk's on his way out. He's focusing on other shit. And he's like the fact that he said like, "Oh, I stopped drinking for this." It's like, okay, you were drinking before. Like damn. So you're like, do you really want to fight or like? And then he said he wanted to retire, but he couldn't retire because all he could think about was fighting. Like, and then he got KO'd because he took the fight on short notice, and then all this shit happened, and then went like on a fucking spiral. It sucks, like, but in this sport, it's common, man. I'm used to it. And Volk
Yeah.
was one of those champions that like people like a lot of the Connor era, what I like to call it, the fans that came in with Connor, that was one of the first champions they saw. They're like, oh, like he's well rounded. He's like, oh, like they started to see the sport differently with him, Peter Yan, and stuff like that, fighters like that. And people became fans, like of the sport and his walkout. How can you not love his fucking walkout song, dude? Like when he walks out, like everybody's a Volk fan. I gotta rock with Diego on this. I gotta rock with the young stud, the young champ. That Dan Ige fight. I mean, he was training for another fight. Don't get me wrong, man. Like I obviously props to Dan Ige, but to go to a whole camp and for him to accept that fight too, like yeah, you gotta give props to both camps on that.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there like three weight cuts too that Diego had to go
Yeah,
through in
yeah,
like a matter of like a week and a half?
yeah. Because of Brian
And
Ortega, because he had taken the
he had to go through two weight cuts
yeah.
with Ortega, and then he had to go through a third weight cut with Ige. And so, I mean, that in itself, I think everybody gets it with that, but I don't think that's the only time that we've seen him start to gas in that third round. Um, and yeah, like Wolf was saying, Volk is certainly going to weaponize his cardio and put the pace on Diego Lopez. I don't think, Lopez is a BJJ black belt, right? He's a BJJ instructor. I don't think that's going to be live with Volk, right? Well, Volk could get overly aggressive and put himself in that position, right? So let me not say I that's not going to happen,
Yeah,
but
I
I
mean,
just I just
Diego's the type to block a takedown with a triangle,
with
So there's a or a
guillotine
guillotine.
choke
Yeah,
or exactly jump gilly.
And that's what I mean. I still want to put that out there. Listen, if I love Diego Lopez, I do, and if he was to become champ, I think that's a very exciting moment for the featherweight division because there's a hell of a lot of interesting fights there, and we've even now got the Yair Rodriguez fight. If Yair wins this weekend as well, they're setting that fight up. You know what I mean? And he's gonna sell. Pay-per-views. Dana's eyes are gonna be lighting up with dollar signs. So yeah, Diego Lopez, I've liked him for a very long time. I think he's great. For some reason, I know this sounds funny, he actually looks like an old friend of mine, mullet and everything. But so whenever I see him, I'm like, there, man. But yeah, I mean, I love Volk. I'd love to see him become champ again. I agree with everything that Foo's saying as well. Lopez, he might have worked on his cardio. He's well rounded. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, my heart's saying, Volk, my head's saying, Lopez. But yeah, I feel like it could be Volk, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lopez. And it breathes a bit of new life into the featherweight division. And if Volk then says, I'm calling it a day, then fair play, you've hung it up when you needed to. Do you know what I'm saying? Very
Oh,
exciting fight.
if Volk does lose, then it's game over, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks because like the spiral that you were talking about, fool, was that sort of stint right after he beat Max, and then he lost a 5 round decision fight, really close fight to Islam.
Mm.
Beats Yair, and then goes like real fast turnaround. to Islam. And I think that like that's when after that loss it was highlighted sort of, I don't want to say mental illness, but this sort of obsession that a lot of these fighters have, right? That the only place that they feel at home themselves um, is inside the ring, inside the octagon, on the mat, in the gym. And for Alex, it's competing. He's a competitor. And the issue is, as a professional fighter, you have to be disciplined and discipline your mind and discipline your urges, your emotions, your desires. And those things, I think, got the better of him. And it proved in losses to Islam, a bad loss to Islam, and then followed up by a somewhat embarrassing loss to Taporia. And I say embarrassing because it's coming off the heels of a bad loss to Islam. So this is a redemption fight for Volkanovski, if you will, right? Like, and I think this is why he's like, I'm taking this seriously. I'm not drinking. I'm focusing on this. I'm making sure everything is right because I think he understands the gravity of this situation, and it's an opportunity for the belt again, to be a champion again. Um, and I wonder, is Lopez like Icarus, right? Is he flying towards the sun too fast, too soon? Is he going to get burnt down, by a revived phoenix of an Alexander Volkanovski? I don't know. But I think that
I was
I
just
don't
saying
think
this.
the path of destruction that Diego Lopez has been is it's pretty
Oh
crazy.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. I mean,
he
look at
just
that.
had
He came in.
a 5 tornado.
Yeah, that Ortega
But
fight
now, though,
yeah.
Gavin
The
Tucker, Pat Sabatini, Sadiq Yusuf, Dan Ige, Brian Ortega. Fuck.
just bodies, bro.
Killers
Bodies.
Row, Killers Row.
Wow.
He's a body fucking collector, bro. I mean, knocking out Yusuf, knocking out Sabatini, yeah. Knocking out Sodiq Yusuf was impressive. Going to a decision win with Ortega, that's when my yellow fucking alert started coming up because I felt like he should have made a stamp victory on that one. And then, the Ige fight, understandable. But he still took care of business. So that's why I've just got a big yellow flag right now, right? Because of the Ortega fight.
Mm.
It's the only thing is he getting distracted with
Well,
start.
you think about distractions. People were commenting after the press conference that he seems to be focusing a bit too much on Yair. Is he looking
Is
ahead?
his
Is
head?
he looking out?
Great
Yeah,
point. Is his head in the game now? It
mm,
might have been yesterday. Today, I guarantee you his focus is not on
yeah.
Volkanovski.
That's what shook him up a lot. I mean, Fu, I think you kind of you translated it for us, didn't you? There was something going on between teammates or something. It's like teammate beef.
Oh yeah, that they had beef with one of his teammates, Marco. That
Mm.
I guess Diego's team jumped him or they beat him up or some shit. And then
Oh,
Yair's like, "Yeah, I'm calling you out right here. I've been waiting for this moment to call you out." And he just started fucking cussing him out and shit.
that was must see TV. I telling you, bro, I was there with the popcorn. I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but I was just like,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. Now they're saying like it was beef with a girl, and then like it. But he was telling something about a teammate named Marco. They ended up
yeah,
getting in a fight, and
It
he's
could
like,
have
"Yeah,
been
you're
over a
fake."
girl.
Yeah, like what it probably started, but yeah, I know they
Yeah.
got in a fight or some shit.
yeah.
But hey,
Well, I hope
hey, shout out to
I
them
hope
for
that
saving the presser.
yeah, and I hope the UFC does something with that, right? Doesn't let that die, especially if I mean honestly, okay, so if they both win, you make the fight. If they
If
both
they
lose,
both lose, you
you
make
make
the
the
fight.
fucking fight.
Yeah.
Listen,
You know?
I say even if one of them loses, one of them wins, make the fight.
That'll
Do
be a
it.
little harder though.
If
That'll be
Yair
a
Maybe
little
doesn't get
give them.
harder.
cut,
Because one's gonna because say Lopez wins, then he's the fucking champ. And then
Oh,
what, you give Yair,
yeah, yeah,
that opportunity. If Yair wins and Lopez loses, I think that's still an
yeah.
option. That'd be a great option, right? Because it gives
yeah,
Yair an opportunity to leapfrog Lopez and a punishment for Lopez for losing and having to defend down. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that still being made.
Yeah.
You have it, boys.
Very, very,
Fucking,
very interesting card. Very low. So many interesting fights on this. You know,
it's
it's fireworks.
early prelims start at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what the fuck that is in UK.
11 p.m. early prelims. Prelims 1 a.m. Main card 3 a.m.
Bless your heart, man. Bless your fucking heart. Like to give a
I'm
shout
getting
out to
the
all the
monsters
homies.
out. The monsters are getting pulled out that night. Let me tell you.
Oh,
We do it every
I
weekend. We love it.
want to give a shout out to all the homies. We love you guys, man.
Sh-
We appreciate your support.
Shout out to
Hit that.
Miami. Shout out to the MMA Homie Pod. Shout out to Combat Sports Today. Shout out to Against the Fence.
Yep.
Shout out to everyone, man. Shout out to my boy Alien. Shout out
Yep.
to my boys at Bench Burner Sports. Yeah, that's it. Let's go. Patty the Batty, man. Work.
Let's do it.
Another
Patty the
episode
Batty
been
for
able to sit all
sure.
week, man. Patty the Batty.
Oh, Patty the Batty. Oh, Patty the Batty.